Reports from many of the Sunday newspapers talking about leaked emails has continued throughout the week. So the journalists behind the Gupta family emails expose have refuted claims by the family that their investigation is nothing but fake news and part of a politically orchestrated campaign. The Amabhungane story alleges that there were approximately 5.3 billion rands worth of kickbacks and corrupt transactions between Transnet and the Chinese locomotives manufacturer. Sam Sole did an interview for us. Let's take a look and see what came out of it.
It's out of the country, so if the handling of it is also out of our hands. So if we are interdicted, or if there's a raid and people take our copies, there are copies outside of the country which will be released, and we have no control over that anymore. That process is going to go ahead, although it is going to take a few days because this is such an enormous trove to set up the infrastructure for it, for it to be put online.
All right, so you've had a chance to look at it, and I'm sure that the actual journalism portion of your work will kick in full steam. But what can you tell us in terms of what these documents are telling us in the main?
Look, I think, there's a question about what is fake capture? Is this fake news? Is this just another version of the influence that capital exerts on government anywhere? And I think what these documents and the information coming out now show really quite conclusively is that this really is state capture. The breadth of the influence, the connections into government at the highest level, into state-owned enterprises, into officials, etc. We've seen how officials have visited Dubai and stayed in hotels at the expense of the Gupta family and so on. And the story that we published today, the main story we published today, really highlights what does state capture mean, and the evidence that we put forward today is really very strong. It's about the deal between Transnet and the Chinese company China South Rail to purchase new locomotives for Transnet. And what the documents we disclose show is that there was a kickback agreement, a contract signed, which would pay Sole and SIikonathi, who's a very close Gupta associate, and other entities in the Gupta orbit, basically 20% in every rand spent on this project would go to them. And we calculated for the locomotives that are costing about 50 million rand each, 10 million of that cost was going to go to the Guptas and their associates.
All right, Sam, I suppose a question that most people are going to ask and they want to be sure of is this not fake news? And can you trust your source that's been able to deliver this data to you?
Yes, look, I mean, firstly, it's not possible to fake a data set of this size. It's not possible to create something like that just out of even if you wanted to. This is hundreds of gigabytes big. It's about between 100,000 and 200,000 individual emails and associated documents, attachments, etc. So there's no doubt that this information is what it purports to be. It's communication and documents from within the Gupta empire. So we have no doubt that it's real, and nothing that we've come across up to now in any way suggests that it's been tampered with or anything like that.
All right, I'm going to ask you just to stay with us because in studio now, we're now joined by the Deputy Editor of the Financial Mail, SIikonathi Mantshantsha. Now, I've just asked Sam about whether we can rely on this information, and I know that you've been doing investigations on some of our parastatals for a number of years now. So when you heard about these leaked emails and saw some of the information, did it ring true?
It rang absolutely true. It corroborated many of the things that we have been working on in terms of the state-owned companies, particularly, which is my focus. But there's a whole lot more, like Sam has just pointed out. There's a whole lot of data about the state and all these companies.
So, there's names that seems to keep coming up, certain characters. Tell us about those names and the pattern that's evolving.
What you see there, and it's exactly what Sam has been pointing out, you see employees of the state and indeed in the executive, the ministers and their DGs, or you have chief executives and non-executive directors of companies like Eskom, like Transnet, being flown all over the world, being wined and dined at the expense of Oak Bay Resources and the Gupta families. And along the way, you get them sending information middle of the night to some members of the Gupta family about decisions that they make at work, be that Eskom, Transnet, or even indeed the communications minister, or the whole of government, where those.
So people might be wondering, you're a journalist. How is it that you've been able to uncover these things, and the police seem clueless?
I cannot speak for the police, but just like Sam said, South Africans who may have access to this kind of information and are fed up with the state of affairs, decided to find a way to get the information out into the public, and they indeed found the media.